What is up, D-Bags? JJ back here with Holden talking week 14 in the NFL. Holden, we're coming off a 1-1 week. I blew it for us last week. Lions first half moves me to 9-4. It's nice for me to pick up the Thursday Night Football under, though. It was like we were talking, Holden. We can always rely on Cam when you really don't need to rely on Cam.
Yeah.
But other than that, as you can see, we're both dressed appropriately for this show. We're not in our wedding attire. For me, the plaid didn't do it for me. I mean, think about where the plaid directed me. The plaid directed me to bet the Lions. I mean,
yeah, blame it on that.
We're leaving that in the closet for a long time.
Then I'm fucked today because I'm wearing now on Run Pure Sports. I wear Run Pure Bet shirts. On Run Pure Bets, I wear Run Pure Sports shirts. I want to do the cross promotion. And since I'm not, should I seriously get a flannel so I'm right today? I got one on my bed right over here.
Have you not been wrong since you've been wearing the flannels?
Yeah, let me go. I'll be back in 1 sec. Tell everybody about what you have a sore throat.
So
I'm coming, JJ.
This week, a lot of good games. So there's no buys this week either. So we're gonna have to get through a lot of these games. I guess fairly quickly. I will tell you, I like the best bet I have for today. We'll get to that game when we get there. I know that you guys might think me and Holden talk all this stuff before the show. I don't really know where Holden's best bet is today. So I'm interested to see where that is. Look at the blue though.
Yeah. I got 2 blue ones and a red one. I think I'm gonna get a green one next.
It just shines through. It reflects off the brown in the back. I mean, just shines through.
Yeah, pretty sexy, if you ask me. My best bet is going to be from the Chargers game today. Chargers. But yes, did you tell people about our tweet back and forth, how we were talking about this? You like the game under for the Patriots, and I can't stand Cam Newton. So I went with the under on the Patriots, and we both won. Yeah. So yay!
Yeah. Sometimes we're both right, Holden. Sometimes.
Not often. Not often, but that's fun. All right, let me turn my phone off. You ready to get going here? Kick some ass?
I'm ready to go. I got my boyfriend mug. I got my little breakfast shake. I'm ready.
I took some protein powder this week. I haven't shit in 7 days. It's amazing. Here, this is mine today. Shirtless with my baby, the one that kicks me in the nuts.
Wow.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, not a bad look. Not a bad look.
No, it's not.
Your hair looks dyed in that mug, though.
No, it used to be really black.
It's like metallic black.
Yeah, that's my real color. This is my fake color. So let's do this.
I'll tell you this real quick about the protein. Yeah, you drink enough of that shit. Yeah, you'll be backed up. You'll need like, what are they, Metamucil?
Yeah, I bought a whole cleansing system. It seriously bought me to buy a cleansing system. So
yeah, either do that or go put yourself in the middle of like a gangbang. That'll get you right through it.
I tried that one time. I had a real tough time walking for like a week.
Yeah, it's same thing with me.
JJ, everybody's posting this 4:00 game first, so I suppose we should get to it first, so I don't forget about it. We got the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams led Green Bay Packers visiting Matt Stafford and the Lions. The total here is 55. You see the 55.5 if you want to bet the under. And it's -8.5 now for the Pack. I mean, Rodgers have an MVP caliber season. Swift is back for the Lions. Can they keep this with an 8.5? It's a big number.
Now, this is going to be one of those games that might be very fun to watch in terms of both teams scoring, right? But as far as betting angles, not so much fun here. So the Packers, laying 9 on the road, sub 9 on the road, that's never fun, right? But they can beat this team by a lot if they really want to. The Lions offense, though, has shown some potency. Specifically for me, though, the Packers have been the best first half team in the NFL all season long. And Detroit's actually been one of the worst defensive teams in the first half all year long. You could argue for some value on the Packers team total over for the first half. I think it's like 16.5. But remember, that's a huge number. Like 16.5 for a first half is a huge number. But it's a number that the Packers have done in 3 straight. They've averaged 23 a game their last 3 in the first half. The Lions are definitely not going to be putting up much of a fight for them defensively. But again, type of efficiency you need, to get 17 in the first half, it's tough, right? I mean, because you could have an outstanding first half. You could pile up like 200, 250 yards and still only wind up with like 14 points. or maybe kick a bunch of field goals. Either way, it's a big number. If I had to lean, it would be Packers team total over first half, but that would be it. It's because again, the game, when you have a total that's 55, means seeing some 55.5s. The game could shoot out and you'd still go and you'd still lose. So, but overall, that would be my best look for.
I mean, that 55.5, you get that hook if you want to go under there. Yego, Hustle Wilson, Pete Perez, Christopher Hoy, and Pete Perez again. Buenos dias, amigos. Let's continue rolling this down here. Week 14 already.
Not seeing anybody check in. I mean, if me and Holden can admit that we've been a part of a few gangbangs on the opposite end of them, I think you guys can drop in your flaccid sizes.
Yeah, but the difference was you had a gangbang with dudes. I had a gangbang with a bunch of ladies with strap-ons, and it was a lot. Listen, that's painful too.
You know what? That's true. Ladies with strap-ons is definitely a better look.
Yeah, there's something to be said for real flesh. What the fuck is going on today?
It went off. It's your fault. It went off the rails.
Oh, it's totally my fault. It went off the rails. Good thing it's a paid show too.
It's not.
This is a free show.
It's a free show.
You gotta be kidding me. Oh, I hope this doesn't make its way to my mother. She'll believe it too. It really is a free show.
100% free.
This whole year, I thought it was a paid show. Tennessee at Jacksonville. The Titans are 7.5-point favorites on the road against their division rivals. They took this Thursday night matchup and they decided to put it every year. This is the Thursday night matchup, isn't it? Like the mid-season Thursday night, they just want to take a night off, so they put these two teams out there. I'm seeing the spread. Is this true? DraftKings has it at 7. Everywhere else is 7.5. 52.5 is the total here, JJ. That 7 doesn't bother me.
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing with Jacksonville. Their box scores are a bit misleading, right? Because Cleveland should have beat them, probably covered. I don't remember what that Cleveland line was. It might have been about 7 or 8-ish. They drive down late to score a touchdown and get the 2-point and not get the 2-point conversion as a backdoor score. Then against Minnesota, they do the same thing. Third and fourth quarter, they look absolutely awful on offense, Jacksonville, but they backdoor and score and then hit the 2-point conversion as well, down 8, and then lose in overtime. But for me, look, Tennessee comes off the bad game against the Browns, probably a good spot where they come out looking good in the first half. And Jacksonville's been the team that's been giving up a lot of points in the first half. Ultimately, I don't like the idea of betting their team total over like I do the Packers, because it's basically the same thing. It's 14.5, which is, again, almost the same thing as 16.5. But I do lean them first half -4. You actually might even be able to get 3.5. Some places have 7. But I do lean that just because, again, Jacksonville hasn't been that good offensively in the first halves of games. They've been showing a lot more potency late in games to backdoor cover. But Tennessee's defense is just so bad. That's why I'm confused at why this total is steaming down. It's not steaming down a lot, but it's steamed down a full point. And I just don't get it. Like, Jacksonville's games have been shooting out. Tennessee has no problem scoring, and they definitely give up a ton of points. So, yeah, overall, and that's not a bad look either, Drex. I don't mind Tennessee in a teaser. It's not going to be a play from me for this video, but I don't mind them in that teaser either. Overall, lean Tennessee first half -4.
Yeah, I actually really, really like that. I don't get it either. I mean, Tannehill's got a great rapport. Excuse me. He's got great rapport with Brown, Davis. Henry should go run roughshod today. So I don't get it. I don't get it either. Hustle Wilson, good morning. Buzzer beater, good morning. He likes Jonathan Taylor over 52.5 yards today. That's
Can't wait to talk about the Colts.
It's the JJ special. Willie Parker, Greg Russo, and Drexley. Buenos dias. 10 a teaser piece. That's the question Drexley has for you.
So I don't mind bringing Tennessee down. There's so many teaser options this week. You could literally pick your spots. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee's definitely worthwhile to bring into a teaser.
All right, let's go down to Dallas and Cincinnati. Honestly, dude, I hate this game. I want nothing to do with it. It's Andy Dalton revenge game, taking on Brandon Allen. It's the Dallas Cowboys, folks, the team that quit in their last game. Legitimately, I never say teams quit. There's guys in that team that quit. They are 3-point favorites on the road with the total at 43.5. How am I going to? I don't care that this is Andy Dalton's revenge game, JJ. I don't care that the Bengals are an utter disaster. How am I giving 3 points with the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, so make this quick because I just want to move on from this game.
You too?
Yeah. So 2 awful teams. Why would you be laying 3 with a bad team? And you could argue, why would you be only taking 3 with Cincinnati against anybody in the league? Look, ugly game. You could argue for the under, but both teams have awful defenses, so it wouldn't surprise me if points got scored. Just overall, there's legitimately like 13 games today. Avoid this one.
Get rid of it. Good. Arizona at the Giants. This is an interesting game to me. 2.5-point favorites. Arizona on the road. The total's 46.5 in most places. JJ, there is no doubt in my mind, and this is after talking to like doctors, the pro football doc, David Chow. He's like, it's going to take about a month for Kyler Murray's shoulder to heal, the AC joint. And he also thinks that this is the week that he goes back to running. Well, if that's the case, then I like Arizona a lot. I don't know if that's the case, though. The total's 46.5. The side is interesting here. Are the Giants really as good as we've seen them the last 4 weeks, JJ?
I think what we'll end up noticing, I'll discuss it now because it'll just become a topic anyway. The NFC East is getting a ton of respect this week. I mean, look at these lines.
Why?
You got Dallas favored. You got the Giants only less than a hook against the Cardinals. You got Washington 3 against the Niners. Just a lot of respect for this. And then Philly, they have a new quarterback anyway, so you got to know how much you can really put into that. But NFC East is getting overall a lot of respect this week. Maybe you could argue the NFC East is better than people think, despite their poor records.
Okay.
But so in this spot in particular, like the Giants are getting a lot of love here. And it's based on recent performance, right? I think you're getting the perfect storm in terms of Arizona's been playing awful. They should have 0 wins in their last 5 games. And the Giants have looked really good. They're coming off their best win of the year with Colt McCoy. I mean, we talked about him and, how below average he is. But ultimately, it was really the lack of Seattle offense last week that really or maybe you give credit to the Giants defense or a lot of credit. They're definitely not a bad defense. I feel like we discuss this every week. I mean, they're not like underrated. Like they get enough respect, but they're not like, I think people hear the Giants, they think, oh, this Chiefs defense is terrible. Like they're really not. So here, like you said, Holden, it's tough to bet on Arizona games in general because you just don't know how healthy or not Kyler Murray is. If he's 100%, this line should be a lot bigger than 2.5. If he's not 100%, though, this line's probably correct. The problem is, Giants looking the best they've looked all year, and the Cardinals are looking the worst they've looked all year. If you're talking a recipe to how you beat the NFL, you don't beat the NFL by betting teams at their best versus teams at their worst. You win betting the NFL doing the exact opposite. However, this number isn't really giving enough credit to how good the Giants have been, and it's not really putting enough bad stamps on how bad Arizona's been. Overall, I'm going to stay off this game. Have this line fair enough, but again, if you have any inside information, do you think Kyler Murray is going to come out of his shell today and start running all over the place? Arizona's definitely going to be some value. Other than that, I'm going to be off.
It's a stay away spot for me. There's too many stay away spots today, but maybe that's good because we won't lose money on them.
Yeah.
Eric, good morning. Drexley, we already answered your question. James Brown. Ha!
All right. Do we talk on props? Yeah, we talk on props all the time on Run Pure Bets.
Oh my God, yeah. Every week that's all I give is props. I don't know sides. What the hell what do I know about sides? I'm all about the props. Don't give up on the Niners, JJ. They're coming back, says James Brown. Hustle Wilson, Christopher. Ikes 420. Kirk Gray and Ikes all. All right, very good. I got to get back on track here, JJ. It is my fault. This is a fascinating game here. Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans, 1.5-point favorites. You can get it down to 1 on the road against Mitchell Trubisky and the Chicago Bears. Now, Brandon Cooks is a game time decision. Can a number 1 wide receiver move a line, or should it move a line ever?
I think in this case it should, primarily because he's already lost his true number 1, and now he's about to lose his next up true number 1. So he's going to be throwing the ball to like UPS employees today.
Chad Hansen, baby. Chad Hansen, bang the over.
If Brandon Cook's out, hopefully he plays. So maybe this game's a little better, but I do have him worth a decent parts of the line because if you're Chicago, you can kind of change how you're playing defense today. if Cooks is not in the game. What I will say is, so 1.5, right? I mean, Houston probably can't beat any team by 7.5. Not a bad idea to tee Chicago up. And I hate Chicago. Like I think this team is so bad. I know the teams bet them every week. I know the people bet them every week. And even last week, so I fade them in the first half. I mean, and I lose, but they still blow the game in the second half. Like, this team is a bad team, and they just continue to get market respect. I don't understand it. But look, Houston's defense is really bad. Watson, though, I've said this before, since the coaching change, from a numbers angle, this dude has the best numbers in the NFL, better than Mahomes, pound for pound. Look at his numbers from the coaching change to now. Best numbers in the NFL from the quarterback position. And look, you're not hearing anything. I mean, you're hearing a little bit about how good he's been, but I mean, he legitimately could enter the MVP conversation. The problem is this team isn't winning games, so he'll never win the MVP, but his numbers are outstanding. He's been great. I know that the big talk on him coming into the year was, what's he going to do without Hopkins? How's he going to be able to, elevate his game? He's become much better at making reads. I mean, look at last week. He's throwing the ball to Chad Hansen. Right? Is it Chad Hansen?
I like Chad Hansen, man. He's back up this week. The guy's going to have some numbers. I'm not even kidding. I can't find a receptions or yards prop on him. I love Chad Hansen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. The dude hasn't played.
You hate it. Fine.
Well, he hasn't played a snap since 2018, Holden. I'm not saying he's a flash in the pan, but I mean,
last week.
No, I'm just saying he had one good week. I mean, we don't need to knob slob the guy.
I'm knob slobbing all morning long on this guy.
But you're right.
Listen, if Cooks is out, this guy has at least 5 catches.
Volume is going to be there for sure, and Watson's clearly making good reads. So look, I agree with you. He should have a decent, especially if he's on the field 50% of the time, he's going to have a decent game. This Bears defense is good though. Overall, look, Bears could win, Houston could win. I think Cooks matters a lot to this line though, so I'd pay attention to that. Teasing Bears up to 7.5 is not a bad idea. But again, and I didn't mention this last week, and I should have. Mitch Trubisky's numbers against the Lions are crazy good, ridiculously good. I mean, look him up. He has 12 touchdowns to 1 pick. He averages 280 yards per game against them. He plays really good against the Lions. I don't know if it's because they play a lot of man and he's better at reading man, but either way, this is not the Lions. So don't be expecting, I know it's Houston's bad, but don't be expecting the same level of Mitch Trubisky, because his career has shown he doesn't play good against anybody else except the Lions in the NFL. Now look, David Montgomery had a good game last week. Maybe he builds on it against a bad defense here. But overall, I think Houston's the better team, but Cooks does matter to me. So ultimately, I'm going to stay off this game entirely, but not a bad idea to tease this up to 7.5 with the Bears.
All right. Very good. Move to the next one. Denver at Carolina. Who put the play on the board here? Somebody had a play from this game.
Somebody.
Was it you?
That was me.
All right, let's do this then. Now we're cooking. Now we're talking.
So my best bet today is Denver plus the points. Seeing some 3.5, seeing some 4 pop up. So, wherever, I guess if you want 4, grab 4 where you can. So this is just a line I don't fully understand. This line should definitely be underneath 3. However, it's past 3, and now it's touching 4. Look, I get it. Carolina's good. Bridgewater's great against the spread when he's an underdog, okay? He's not an underdog here, okay? You're laying points with Bridgewater and the Panthers. No DJ Moore. No McCaffrey, right, Holden? Is he back?
No McCaffrey, my friend.
Yeah, so and I really liked what I saw from Denver last week. I mean, I think that now the problem is it's very tough to understand what Kansas City wants to do in a given week. Sometimes they just kind of coast through games. So it's tough to really understand if it's really the defense that's doing it or if it's Kansas City just kind of sleepwalking through a game. But I really liked what I saw from Denver. They got a good pass rush last week. And look, we know that they have a good defense. It's really their offense that kind of worries people. And look, nothing about Carolina's defense worries me. I mean, look, I get it. Denver's been tough to watch. They've had some really tough games recently, but Drew Lock's been somewhat formidable. Hasn't been great, but formidable. He's got all his weapons back, fully healthy. Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. Everybody's there. Both running backs are healthy. So I think overall, I expect Denver to score some points today. And look, I don't trust Carolina in this spot to pile up points. Now they might. Again, Carolina's been an underrated team. They're very well coached. I must say, got to give credit to Matt Rule and Joe Brady over there, running the show offensively. And Matt Rule's more of a defensive guy as the head coach. But yeah, I think in this spot, they're getting too much value. So I'm happy to take the 3 or 4 with Denver, 3.5. So that's my favorite bet for this week.
Very good. That is your favorite bet. I like that. I think Melvin Gordon has a chance to go over his 53 rushing prop. I don't have the guts to take it. By the way, every book now has moved this to 4. The Carolina -4.
Oh, yep, I just saw it. Yep.
So what's going on here?
I think it's a pretty popular public play today, right? I mean, I think if you're looking at the lines and you're like, oh, I only got to lay 3.5 or 4 with Carolina. I mean, against Denver sucks. But like I said, I think when you really dig deeper, it's like it doesn't make much sense because the love Carolina gets is when they're underdogs. They're not underdogs in this spot. So now I just think they're getting too much love, and I'm happy to take the dog. Look, Carolina could roll today. Denver's not a great team by any means, but for me, it's a value play. I'll happily take the 3.5.
Minnesota at Tampa Bay. I love this game for offense, by the way. I might be the only, but actually, you know what? This is up to 52.5 now. Got bet up a point. Total's 52.5. You can get Tampa Bay -7. You can even get, I see them now dropping to -6.5 at FanDuel. So that's interesting. Cousins, we do have let's see here. Who said that? Eric Cheng said Cousins over 269.5. I placed that bet earlier this week at 266.5, and I got back in today at 269.5. I like that a lot, Eric. Just don't watch the game because every time we bet on Kirk Cousins, it's very uncomfortable. What do you think of that bet? Cousins throwing that much. It is not going to feel good to do that again. Second straight week, I'm going back to the guy, JJ.
Here's some positives in your favor, Holden. This game's at 1:00, okay, Eastern Standard Time. That is Kirk Cousins' wheelhouse. Okay, he plays really well in this time slot, and it's too big of a sample to be random. So, I like that angle. Number one. Number two, Tampa Bay's best funnel defense in the NFL in terms of you can't run on them, and you most certainly can pass. Now, they're not a bad pass defense by any means, but you absolutely cannot run the football against Tampa. 3.3 yards per carry. And look, Dalvin's probably going to struggle here. I'm interested to see if Minnesota does some creative things to get him the ball, maybe outside, maybe some stretch runs, maybe some counters, just in between the tackles. There's no team in the NFL better at stopping the run than Tampa. And what does that mean, right? That probably means they're going to rely on Kirk Cousins a lot more today if they're going to win this football game. And he's certainly got weapons. I mean, Jefferson's been tremendous. Adam Thielen, obviously. Apparently, Irv Smith should be coming back today. Just a lot of and I don't trust this Tampa defense. Like, I don't trust it by any means. And especially in the first half of games. Like, if you look at their first half numbers, this team gives up a ton of points in the first half. This is one of the top 7 team in terms of yards per play in the NFL. But yet they're like ranked in the bottom 10 in terms of points per game given up in the first halves. And the last few games, they've been so bad in the first half. It's almost like they don't come out with enough, I don't know, energy or motivation, whatever. They get boxed out in the first halves of games. But if I'm betting this game, as we like to say, gun to my head, Holden. Vikings plus the 7, primarily because of how good Cousins typically is in this spot or in these time slots. And again, he's like a creature of habit, and I can get 7 in this spot against Tampa, who's been reeling. Sure, Tampa could win, and Tampa could prove in this game that they really are one of the top teams in the NFC. I'm just at the point now, Holden, where I just don't trust Bruce Arians as a good head coach. He's like a fake good head. At this point, he's like a fake good head coach. Like, that team has so much talent. How do they keep losing games? So look, I think the team has a ton of weapons on offense, which the offense has been kind of spotty based on Brady's performances. But there is no reason that defense should be spotty. I got to put some of that on Bruce Arians, and this team is so much better than how they've played. Do realize, Eric, Brady after a bye week is not so much a stat you can really go to, because Brady after a bye week was getting prepped from Bill Belichick. He's not getting his same prep this time. Different coach. But look, Tampa Bay could look really good today. They are one of the best teams in the NFC. They just haven't looked at the last few weeks. I can get 7 with Minnesota with Kirk in a spot that he should play decent. I'd lean taking the 7.
So I actually have a lean in this. It's over 52.5.
Yeah, don't mind that.
I mean, I'm looking at Tampa Bay. This offense should completely crush one of the worst secondaries in the league. Actually, they just stink everywhere. I think Rojo has a nice game today. I think Evans gets in the mix. All of these guys. Tampa Bay should score 4 touchdowns, and Cousins going up against the bad secondary. That's a 3-touchdown day. Throwing a couple field goals, I think we're doing okay. I think 7 times 7 is 49. You get a missed extra point. That happens. Couple field goals. So that's my lean there.
Yeah, I like it.
Both defenses should get shredded. This to me is the next one's the most fascinating game. It's Kansas City at Miami. And let's see here. We got Kansas City -7 on the road. The hook went away. The total is 50.5. Now, we know Kansas City just is on such a roll offensively, but this Miami defense has been playing well. Like, can they keep it close?
Yeah. So, I think for me, this is an interesting spot. I know this is a spot where your quote unquote sharper folks are on Miami. And I get it to a certain extent. But Kansas City just has a knack for turning it on. Like when, they have people talking shit. I want to be clear. Nobody's putting them down, but this is not a spot where like everybody's blindly betting the Chiefs. Like you typically have those types of spots, right? Like the Broncos last week. Everybody wanted to bet the Chiefs against the Broncos. This week, though, people are liking what they've seen from Miami. Tua has been playing better. If I'm looking for an angle from this game, with this total as high as it is, I would actually lean Miami's team total under. This is a team that's had one of the lowest yards per play in the NFL since Tua has taken over. And Kansas City doesn't turn the ball over, so Miami shouldn't be getting any like magical touchdowns in this game, any magical non-offensive touchdowns. Now, look, I get it. If Kansas City scores a ton of points, they might let up on defense some extra points. Kansas City's defense, though, hasn't looked that bad either. So, I mean, you would maybe know this. Hold on. DVOA, what's Kansas City ranked?
I'll go find it out for you. DVOA defensively?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should just see because, like, on paper, their numbers don't look that bad. I don't know their DVOA numbers, though.
I bet you they are a top 10 team in DVOA.
Which, if it was the case, it wouldn't surprise. And I just think Miami's offense has struggled. They don't make a lot of big plays. And if Kansas City gets those pass rushers going, it forces Tua into any type of third and longs today. It's going to be a long day. I would definitely very slightly lean Miami team total underneath. Should be underneath, LOL. Under the, I guess it's got to be, 22.5?
You know what's shocking? I can't believe this. Kansas City 17th in DVOA defensively.
It's middle of the pack, though. It's not like they're not like, but again, Holden, if you look at their surface numbers, like some of it's like really bad. But like, if you watch this team play defense, you're like, this team's not that bad defensively.
No, they're good defensively. I personally feel like they were at least 45% of the reason why this team won the Super Bowl last year. That defense turned it on. Absolutely turned it on. Also, this is interesting. Best pass offense DVOA. 2007 Patriots were number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 18 Chiefs were number 6, and this year's Chiefs are number 8 all time pass DVOA.
Wow.
And it still seems like there's a lot of games they just don't get on track, so they just have to explode for a quarter or two, and then it goes over. So I don't like it. What's your final take on this?
Miami team total under would be a very, very, very slight lean.
Very slight lean. And
it should be, Willie, it should be 21. I mean, based on what the numbers look like for this game, total of 50, -7.5. It should be like a 28.5, 21.5 number. If you're getting 20.5, that's not a great number there, Willie.
Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts going on the road, laying 2.5 points at a struggling Vegas team. It's like they almost beat the Chiefs for the second time, and since then they've just been reeling. 52.5 is the total. Now, you can laugh at me all you want. I think Rivers has a nice day today. I think he goes for at least 275 and 2. On the other side of things, like I know Jacobs is coming back. How are you running on Indianapolis? I have a hard time thinking that Derek Carr is going to be completely shut down today. I think they're going to have to play catch up, but 2.5 on the road for the Colts, JJ, is that possible?
So this is a tough game. The biggest stats discrepancy in this game is strength of schedule. Okay, the Colts have had like the 4th easiest schedule in the NFL. The Raiders have actually had like the 4th hardest schedule in the NFL. Yet these teams are only separated by 1 game, and this game's in Vegas. So, the way this line looks, it just looks like the Colts are getting too much respect. Like I know the Colts have had some decent wins the last few weeks. Jonathan Taylor looked really good last week. I kind of gotta eat my first Jonathan Taylor L of the year. Looked really good between the tackles. Interesting to see if he builds on it. How about this for real interesting, Holden? He has that type of receiving game last week.
Right.
And the sports books purposely put out 15.5 for his receiving prop. It'll probably be one of the most popular receiver prop over bets all week. But look, at the end of the day, he splits touches. He's typically not in on those plays. If he doesn't catch that 40-yarder last week, he probably doesn't go over 12 receiving yards last week, 10 receiving yards.
And yeah.
But either way, Taylor looked really good between the tackles, didn't score, which was a shame. But, look, I'm somebody who will talk shit about a player if I don't think they're playing well. But you got to give credit where it's due. Jonathan Taylor looked really good last week. And interested to see if he builds on it here against a poor rush defense. Here's the thing, though. Like I said, the Raiders, who've looked really bad the last few weeks, and a miracle win against the Jets, I think they kind of get their shit together this week, and
really?
they kind of have to. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win outright. I think this is going to be a competitive game where the Raiders look a lot better than they've looked the last few weeks. And again, from a strength of schedule standpoint, this Raiders team is far more battle tested, and they only have one less win than the Colts overall, and they're home. So this is call it a get right spot for them. So I would lean the Raiders plus the 2.5.
You're going to lean the Raiders in this one. I'm going through these injury reports here. Now, the official numbers don't come down till what? 9:30. So we'll be off. They come out right after that, but I'm still trying to find this Brandon Cooks news. And it's like you're getting conflicting information. It's very frustrating right now. Very frustrating. All right, that's just me off the top of my head. We got more games to get to, my friend, including Seattle hosting the Jets. This is a 15-point spread, 14.5 at FanDuel, with Seattle heavily, heavily favored. The total here is 47.5 now. JJ, I know that Seattle is just a disaster in their secondary, but is Sam Darnold really going to take advantage of that? Like, I could see Seattle scoring 48 points this week. I just don't know if the Jets could keep up. So I'm going to stay away from the total. 15 is a huge number, though. I mean, do we just look at the Seattle team total?
So yeah, I think this is going to be an absolute blowout today. Now I don't know. With 15, you could always get some backdoor love, right? And I'm not somebody who ever likes to lay double digits by any means. But this is just an awful spot for the Jets, and an absolute must for the Seahawks. I think that the Jets have a pretty good run defense. They're all versus the pass, and they've shown some life on offense. But this Seattle defense has looked really good the last few weeks. This is just, to me, such a get right spot for Seattle. Now, I'm not going to lay 15 in the game because that's just ridiculous. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Seattle just absolutely rolled the Jets today. By a ton. I want no part of the Jets today by any means. I know Seattle will be a popular survivor play. Big number, sure. You might be thinking, the Jets have been competitive the last few weeks. Let me grab the number. This is just not a good spot to back the Jets for multiple reasons. And ultimately, not going to be a spot I'd target anything in. I mean, you could maybe argue for Jets team total under, but, it's not that big. So it's like you're kind of going to sweat that all game anyway. I'm going to stay off this game entirely, but yeah, if you want my betting perspective, I think Seattle really rolls here.
Man, that's a big number. Like, have you ever laid 15 in a game, in an NFL game?
I personally no. I have not. And I mean, maybe I did it. Maybe I did it once or twice. If I could remember. But no, I mean, probably in the early days, I'm sure I've done it a bunch now that I think about it. But call it the last year or two. No, definitely haven't laid that much to get NFL game.
Trexley is on the Miami money line. Ooh. Hope that comes through for you, dude. I truly
I wouldn't tease Seattle Drex just because you're gonna take 15 to 9. I mean, it would take you underneath 10, so not a terrible idea. But I there's better spots to tease in my opinion, Drex. That could come through, but there's better spots to tease.
Here's my best bets coming up in this one, JJ. Haven't heard yours yet. Have I? No, not yet.
Yes, you did.
What was it again? The team total under?
Denver.
Oh, yeah, duh. It was on this. Yeah. Come on, ding dong. Here we go. Atlanta at the Chargers. I am one who does believe that this will be a high-scoring game, that the Chargers are going to get back on track against this Civ-like pass defense from Atlanta. I get it. Atlanta's defense has been playing much better as of late, but you got Herbert with a healthy Keenan Allen. You got Herbert with a healthy Eckler, Mike Williams. My best bet here is going to be Keenan Allen, and this is a lot of yards, but I'm taking it. 73.5 over. 73.5 receiving yards for Keenan Allen. when he look at him in bottom 10 pass defenses, he absolutely murders the opposition. And I just don't think there's anybody in Atlanta that's going to be able to cover this guy. So that's my best bet this week. The total is 49. It is either 1 or 1.5 point favorites for the Chargers at home. Listen, we know Anthony Lynn's a disaster, but there's no way this team's going to be as bad as they were last week, JJ.
So here's my Chargers take. And I said last week on the video that my favorite teaser was taking the Patriots up to 7.5 against the Chargers. But so interesting enough here, like Anthony Lynn is such a head scratching head coach for multiple reasons. Now, with this spread, to me, why this spread is so weird. So you need the Chargers to win this game if you're betting them, of course. And we discussed this last week, Holden. The Chargers 3 wins this year: Bengals, Jaguars, Jets. Okay,
what are you doing?
3 worst teams in the NFL. So, and now the Chargers are, of course, mathematically out of the playoffs. And the Falcons basically are too. But I mean, where's the incentive for the Chargers to win football games? Like, to me, it's just it's very head scratching. Now I get it. This line, you could argue if this game ends and the Falcons win by like 2 touchdowns, you could argue this was the easiest play on the board because odds makers can't make this line bigger. It was 2.5 for some of the week, and now it's, I think, back to pick 'em. Odds makers can't make this line 4 or 5 because it's the Falcons are on the road. They can't make it that. It has to be where this number currently is, whether it's between pick 'em 2.5 ish. It's got to be in that area where Atlanta's slightly favored, or maybe money steams and the Chargers become favored. But the Chargers have shown nothing that makes me want to think they win games. And what I will tell you about the Falcons is Falcons' most recent games are kind of misleading, right? They played the Saints 2 of their last 3 games, okay? Mm-hmm. And the Saints rolled them twice. And it's pretty clear the Saints are an elite defense in the NFL. So what do you make of that? And then sandwiched in between that, the Falcons blew out the Raiders. So, for me, the Falcons are the better team. I don't know if I can bet it just because from a market value perspective, I mean, the Chargers continue to have market value every week. I'm sure that's why, some syndicates are starting to steam the Chargers games down. That's why you're seeing like the number go to 2.5 and back to pick them. Like when you're talking value, yeah, there's value in the Chargers. The problem is if you watch this team, they don't want to win games. They consistently put Herbert in 3rd and longs. They consistently mess up special teams plays, like consistently. They're one of the worst special teams teams in the NFL. On offense and defense. So they start out with crap field position and they consistently give up bad field position. There's just a lot of things that are not in the offensive and defensive numbers that are why Chargers lose games. Perfect example, Holden. Last week, the Chargers almost outgained the Patriots in total yards. Almost outgained them. They only lost the turnover battle 2-0, and they lost 5. This team finds ways in the middle of games, finds ways to give up free yardage between penalties, between special teams yards, between punt returns, in general. And I want no part of them as a team in terms of the betting markets. Now, player props a whole different angle. I like the Keenan Allen you gave out because if one thing Herbert does is target him. And in this game, you could argue could potentially shoot out. But in terms of betting this game, I want no part of it, primarily because value is on the Chargers, analytics-wise. But this is not a team I can back by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm just going to be off this game entirely.
Eric Chang, first-time viewer, really good info, guys. Going to be locking in Keenan Allen at 73.5. You're locking that in. You better lock in JJ's bet here at Broncos +4.
I tell you what, you need a big pair of balls to bet that today, though. It's hard to click that button.
It was not easy. But I trust you. I'm tailing you. Is my internet slow? Can I ask you something? Am I fine? Is everything good today?
You look okay. I mean, it might be me.
Okay.
It might be me.
Who knows? Who cares? Let's go. Can you side with a team with a guy making his first NFL start? He's been on the sidelines for most of the season. I mean, he plays a play or two. And now Jalen Hurts is, he's getting a lot of points at home. -8.5 for the Saints. I actually see that's a DraftKings 7.5 at FanDuel. That's a big swing there, that 1 point. So the total is 42.5. Listen, Taysom Hill, I get it. He's a lot more predictable as to, where he's going with the ball, when he's going to be throwing the ball. But this team has not missed a beat, JJ. Defensively, they are one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NFL. I honest to God believe that. We'd love, as DFS players, we'd love to see Alvin Kamara get some more checkdowns. We haven't. I think this is a big day for Michael Thomas. I think this New Orleans offense, it'll be interesting to see how they do it. Thomas is a nice matchup. On the Philadelphia side, I just don't know what to make of Jalen Hurts, man. I don't know. It's not an easy defense to make your debut against.
So a few things here. So Dennis Allen has had a tremendous year coaching this defense for the Saints. And now you get a guy making his first start. This is a tough game to find any side truly like super valuable, right? You could argue, okay, that you're getting a good price. You could argue that if you thought Carson Wentz was that bad, okay, if you did, that Jalen Hurts could be a big upgrade and could mean that this team is, because they're well coached, okay. You could argue there's value here grabbing over a touchdown with Hurts. If you truly believe Wentz was that bad, like if Wentz was the reason this offense wasn't moving it, if he was the reason. Now, if he wasn't the reason, okay, like if the offensive line just had caused issues and, started to, here's the thing. The Saints are going to get pressure on Hurts. Now, is he going to be able to use his legs to scroll out and make good decisions with the football? That I don't know. He didn't make a whole lot of good decisions in college when he played good defenses. Okay, now could that change now? Of course, the NFL, maybe he's getting better tutelage. And last week he comes in a game where, it didn't really matter all that much. Packers were up. But he did make some good decisions with the football. Can he parlay that into more good decisions today? I guess time will tell. But the Saints specifically, you have to love what you've seen from this defense, right? I mean, they've been one of the best defenses in the league, not even just the NFC. They're definitely in the conversation with the Rams. So, look, I think if Jalen Hurts limits his mistakes, there's going to be value to be on Philly. If he doesn't, there's probably going to be issues with Philly scoring the football. What's interesting here is you could argue there's a lot of value on the under, okay? Because Philly's a funnel defense, okay? Philly does tremendous stop in the run. They're not very good versus the pass. But Taysom Hill's not really known for his passing, right? Michael Thomas, the value, why I like the Michael Thomas call, Holden, and we're going to talk on Prize Picks in a moment. He's going to get single covered, okay? This is what James Schwartz does. He single covers top receivers. So Thomas is going to be single covered all game long. He should be able to have a decent game. But the problem is that they do a lot of read options with Taysom, and he just might not get as many opportunities. But at the end of the day, it's a smash spot for Michael Thomas. Under probably makes more sense overall in this game, but it's all really depending on what you think this offense is with Jalen Hurts. If you think this offense is going to be potent with Jalen Hurts, like I said, bet Philly. If you don't, in my opinion, you can just bet the under because the Saints probably aren't going to put up all these points themselves. And if Philly's not going to score, then this game should go under. But overall, not spots I love in this game. I don't like targeting spots, like you said, when you get a first-time quarterback making his first start. But overall, those are some of my perspectives on it.
Yeah, I think the Thomas catches props is interesting. I love the TD prop, and going through that out today. But BetMGM has over 5.5 minus 110. The question is, it's set so perfectly, though. I could see him going on both sides of things. The yards, same thing as Keenan Allen, 73.5. JJ, I just feel like Keenan Allen's going to have a bigger day. Could be wrong. What do you think about this yards and receptions prop on Thomas, 73.5 and 5.5?
I think my only issue is when they throw, they're looking at him. The problem is they just don't throw a lot. They just don't throw a lot with Taysom. So if magically they go down and they're forced to throw, that's a great opportunity. But again, the other angle is Holden. This Philly's really good between the tackles. So you would think Sean Payton, if you're trying to draw up how you're going to move the ball with the most efficiency today, it's probably going to be through the air. It's going to be a matter of if you trust Taysom to consistently make good decisions. And Eric, to answer your question about Philly running some read options, I don't know how they don't. They'll have to try to keep it simple for Jalen. So you're not giving this dude a bunch of plays to learn in his first week as a starter. But it wouldn't surprise at all. They run some read options with Carson. I think they'll parlay them right into Jalen Hurts.
Last one for you folks, gentleman. I don't know if there's any ladies watching. Did any ladies watch this show? You think?
Probably 0. Actually, if we set the line at 0.5, I'd probably set it under.
Okay, I'll go to the window with that. Washington at San Francisco, Alex Smith and Nick Mullins. San Francisco, 3-point favorites at home. Total here is 43.5. You got to ask yourself, JJ, is Washington really a good team? Are they surging, or do they fall back to earth against the San Francisco defense that now has Sherman back that I'm actually buying on? 43.5 the total. That doesn't bother me too much. The spread 3. What's your take?
Okay, so Washington win last week against Pittsburgh. Was that more Washington's win? You know, answer this question, Holden, but more question for people watching. Was Washington's win last week their own doing, or was it the Pittsburgh Steelers just fatigue? Okay, this is a team that's in the Pittsburgh Steelers that got stuck playing a bunch of games, and their schedule gets rearranged because of other teams' COVID issues, and they looked very fatigued, specifically in that second half. And like the offense, I mean, would you believe like from a numbers perspective, the Steelers should literally have like 4 losses this year. Like they're like 22nd in yards per play on offense. They're like 15th in yards per play on defense. Like this is just overall like not a great team, but you got to give them credit. Like they're finding ways to win games. And to me, what's most interesting about Pittsburgh is like in terms of like yards lost, like rushing, like they lead the league in the NFL in plays stopped behind the line of scrimmage, sacks, the whole bit. And also Ben Roethlisberger doesn't get sacked at all. They're the only team in the NFL less than 1 sack per game. So he's definitely getting the ball out quick, but this team gives up a ton of big plays. I mean, no more further than what was it, 3rd and 19 from Washington's own like 12-yard line last week at a halftime. And they give up an easy 3rd down convert, which is like, you're like, what is going on? This stuff consistently happens with Pittsburgh, and it's been happening recently. I think fatigue is a big factor with them. So how much credit do you really put on that Washington win? Now, San Francisco, in this spot, so because of how poorly they looked in primetime, I just think you're getting like a perfect primetime storm here. Holden, you get San Fran, who looks absolutely awful in primetime against the Bills. And then you get Washington, who wins a game that no one bet them in, wins outright, crushed a bunch of teasers. And now because of that, you're getting a line with San Fran -3. I mean, look, it makes sense that San Fran bounces back here and wins on a short line. If you're talking numbers angle, there is no value on Washington at this number. Now, you could argue there's certainly some value on the Niners, but no value for me on Washington in this spot. I would very slight lean San Fran. And I know it's probably like a chalky play. Like, I don't know how many people are going to want to bet San Fran. I mean, how many people are going to want to bet Washington in this spot? Maybe there's a bunch. But I just think from a numbers angle, this line's easily 1 or 2 points off. If you're trying to find value, extract value from lines, San Fran has some value here.
All right, let's do some prize picks, buddies. We got all our buddies. Buddy, let's do some prize picks.
Yeah, so I know on Thursday night I gave out 2 unders that I liked on prize picks. But today I actually like 3 overs. And I'm going to do it the same way I do it. The 2-player power play for 1 unit, 3-player power play for half unit. Okay, Melvin Gordon over 12. I know that we've discussed him today. We think he's going to have a good game. He should. I know it kind of correlates to my Denver play as well. I just think Gordon is in a nice spot to run the football well. They like to give him the ball on the goal line. I do think he falls into the box, as the cool kids say. And it wouldn't surprise me if he catches a few balls as well. Number at 12 seems a bit high, but actually I have it a few points low. I think Melvin Gordon plays really well today. Other one, Kirk Cousins over 18. I know that we've discussed him as well today. Minnesota's recipe to win this game is going to be through Kirk Cousins' arm. Okay. He's going to have to move the ball downfield because Dalvin Cook is more than likely going to struggle between the tackles. Okay. And hopefully they don't put Kirk in a lot of 3rd and longs where he ends up playing poorly. But if they get him a lot of short passes, create create pass runs where quick screens, let his playmakers make plays. I think this number is a bit soft. Wouldn't surprise me for Kirk to throw 2 touchdowns. Throw for about 250, 300, get him around this number of 18, maybe even more if he does a little extra. And the 3rd and final play for me, and again, we've discussed this as well, Michael Thomas over 15.5 fantasy points. For me, it's a soft number. I mean, this is a spot that makes sense. We've discussed about Jim Schwartz, how he single covers top receivers. The dude should have opportunities, and if he scores, I mean, he'll probably easily go over this number. If he doesn't score, I don't even think he has to go over. This is probably your typical game where Thomas should have his 6-7 catches for 70, 80 yards. And again, if he scores, just makes it all the better for this to go over. Those are the 3 plays I like, them 3. And again, 2-player power, and you throw Michael Thomas in as a 3rd for a half unit. And again, sign up to Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. Very cool site with basically where player props meet Daily Fantasy Sports, you basically predict whether players go over or under their total fantasy points. And if you go over there, again, that's prizepicks.com, sign up for promo code PURE, P-U-R-E. You get a 100% deposit bonus match up to $100. That is a free $100 just for signing up. And again, I'm giving out plays basically daily from them. And so just to recap our best bets, I am on the Denver Broncos plus the 4. It moved to 4 before this video. And Holden is on Keenan Allen over 73.5 receiving yards.
That's a lot, isn't it?
For the Chargers. Receiving yards?
Yeah.
Like
I looked at it, I said, boy, this is a lot of receiving yards, but I see him getting way over that. Like, I probably would have bet this up to like 79.5. I think he gets at least 80 today. I think he's going nuts.
Don't blame that at all.
Big time conviction on that one. All right, buddy.
Yeah. Other than that, thanks everybody for joining in. I wish you guys all the best of luck with all your bets today. Be sure to gamble responsibly. And I'll be back with the guys for the live show in a few hours to see you all then. But look, if I don't see you, stay safe, folks.